One, two, one, two, one, two, one, two, audio check. One, two, one, two, one, two, one, two, audio check. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Motive Racing YouTube channel. We are back here for the final time this season, here for Season 5 on the PlayStation 5 for the GT3 Championship on a Sunday night. We are at Circuit of the Americas tonight for this final round of the season, which should be an exciting one. The championship is still on the line at the moment, but it's looking almost odds on, I would say. If you're a betting man, I'd say you could probably afford to put your house, maybe your private jet, potentially even more on the line in the case of Tynus here, because he has pretty much got this one wrapped up. He's got about a 30 odd point lead. I will put up the standings in just a moment, but he's got a very, very large lead over Ludo, who's second in the championship coming into this final race of the season. Ludo has been Mr. Consistent so far this season. Tynus had a couple of bad races, and the gap is still not unassailable, but I think all Tynus has to do is basically finish the race, because there's 19 drivers here tonight, and for P19 you get 24 points, I believe it is. So I mean, you do the maths. Obviously, he's got a 32 point lead. I will double check, but essentially you'd have to finish what, 17th to guarantee the championship. And usually we do get a couple of retirements, so I would say he's just got to finish the race. That's probably going to be the aim for Tynus here tonight. But Ludo's still with a mathematical shot at this title, and I'm sure he's going to be pushing like crazy all the way to the end, because you never ever know what could happen. I mean, it's, you know, Tynus could get involved in a huge accident and not be able to carry on, and then obviously be classified P19. Then Ludo obviously would have to finish in the top 3. I think at the very least. It's very unlikely that we're going to see Tynus not take his second GT3 championship here at Motive tonight, but never say never. But currently we've got Jazzman setting the pace, the only man in the 205 so far in this qualifying session. He was very quick in the practice session a few moments ago as well, and he's been a revelation this season in the Ferrari since he switched to the Ferrari. Earlier this season he was driving in the Honda, which Tynus has driven for the entire season, but Jazzman didn't get on with it. It didn't take to it like a duck to water in the same way that Tynus did. Tynus has also voiced his concerns and his frustrations over the Honda, but ultimately has stuck with it. He managed to get some good points in the first part of the season, and thought, well, obviously leading the championship, it'd be a fool to sacrifice his points tally just to have a faster car. So Tynus stuck with it. Jazzman obviously had nothing to lose because he had a couple of retirements, and just absolutely awful races. I mean, totally unlike the Jazzman that we've all come to know and love here at Moto. It was just like a different person driving that car. Honestly, the first couple of races of this season, I was sat there gobsmacked thinking, what is going on with Jazzman? And obviously it dawned on me, it's the car. It's the fact that it's a car that's just a complete handful. And obviously that is what it is. You know, we all have our weaknesses, and ultimately we found out that Jazzman, who seemingly before was always somebody who could rise to any occasion and could deal with practically anything you threw at him, we found out that there were a very small chink in the armour. But saying that, since he's been in the Ferrari, he's been almost unstoppable this season. I think I've only seen him not win 2 races since he joined in the Ferrari, and obviously we had the Sprint League running until a couple of weeks ago as well, so there's been lots of races where he's driven in that Ferrari, and I think he's only been beaten by Tynus twice during those, well, it's got to be at least 9 or 10 races that we've had all together in a season since he switched to the Ferrari, which is pretty impeccable, I've got to say, or borderline impeccable anyway. But currently Jazzman's setting the pace at 205.6. He's just managed to move a little bit further into the 205s as we speak. I'm going to get the championship standings up as well. Just going to read those out on my phone, because obviously we're not using OBS anymore, so we can't get them up on the screen like we used to be able to back in the day when I used to have professional looking streams. Now obviously my computer has seen better days. It can't handle OBS anymore, which is a big shame, but nonetheless it is what it is, isn't it? I can't really do much about it now, I suppose. But yeah, anyway, just waiting for this obnoxious advert to disappear off of my Formula Game Companion app, and then we should be able to read you the championship standings coming into tonight then. So Let's click on drivers. There we go. Oh, rankings, that's the one. Rankings, right, there we go. So, Tynus in the house leads the championship coming into this final round of the season. He is sat on 370 points. His gap to Ludo in second on 336 is 34 points. So all Tynus needs in this race tonight is to finish in P18. And he is the champion of the GT3s for another season here at Motive. Jazzman, unbelievably, sits in third place in the standings on 298 points after missing the first two races of this GT3 season. Obviously raced in the Honda for those first two rounds and raced in the Honda for the first three rounds of the Sprint League, but for the GT3s he jumped in to the Ferrari for round 3. I think it was Hungary, I think it was, where he first took to the Ferrari, but yeah, ever since then he's been almost unstoppable, and he's actually third in the standings. He's only 72 points behind Tynus. It was last week he obviously got ruled out of contention because obviously 72 points. You get 60 points for a win here at Motive. Wow, look at that, Jazzman, 205.1. That is an absolute stonker of a lap time there from him. He has knocked it out of the park, almost in the 204s there. Only 2/10 shy of the 204s. Nobody else has even managed to get into the 205s. Tynus currently second in this qualifying session right now, 1.2 seconds off on a 206.4. And Ludo is currently half a second adrift of Tynus as well. But that is incredible stuff there from Jazzman. But yeah, Jazzman's third in the championship on 298 points. You've got Epiphany sat in fourth place. Also another driver who's been consistent so far this season. He's fourth on 290 points. You've got Andrew fifth on 284 points. Andrew's already let us know he won't be here tonight. Told me about a week ago he's on holiday at the moment. A lot of people on holiday, obviously, because it is still the middle of August. So that is prime holiday season for basically everybody, which means that we're missing quite a few here tonight. Only got 19 drivers on the track, but saying that, still plenty of drivers, still enough to see an exciting race. I think you can all agree with me on that one. But anyway, I'm going to read the rest of the top 10 in the championship anyway. Robe 6th in the standings on 278 points, followed by High Grade, who is 7th on 252. You've got Carl Marley, who is 8th in the standings currently on 240 points, followed by Law 3000, who sits in 9th on 216, and Error Code in P10 on 206 points. I think Error Code is here. There he is. So yeah, that's the standings. That's the top 10 coming into tonight. I would read you the rest, but it's killing me. So I'm going to leave that for now. But in the meantime, I've got Glenn in the comments here saying, "Evening, good luck all. I'm on for a nice quiet Sunday drive at the back, hopefully." Well, all being well, you should have your wish, Glenn. Just make sure you don't try and overtake anybody, and you might have a nice Sunday drive. But in all seriousness, obviously Glenn always very consistent and has a very strong finishing record as well. Always gets himself to the end. So yeah, obviously big shout out to him, and usually chimes in on the YouTube stream as well. So good to see that. We've got Totally Zero saying yo yo, hi, hello hello. Matev saying go go go. Hello Matev. Matev, you used to race with us back in the day. Why don't you join back again? I remember you were a real good tier 1 racer, usually up there battling in the top 5, podiums a couple of times. I know you only raced with us for one season. I remember you. You should get yourself back in, mate. Definitely think about it. Chris in the comments, Chris M UK, he says, "Good luck all. I dislike this track." I love Kota personally. I think it's great. Always got on with this circuit. I don't know, just the flowingness of it, everything about it. It just seems to just gel for me. I don't know, but I know a lot of people don't like it. Andrew says, "Good luck everyone. Gutted and missing this race." Yeah, shame not to see you here tonight, mate. But unfortunately, life, holidays, all this stuff, it does unfortunately sometimes get in the way. We've got Stephen McAteer says, "Good luck lads, had to miss it tonight, but I'll be watching." Good to hear that you're tuning in, Stephen. Obviously he will be racing with us full time next season. Made his debut last week as well at, or did he make his debut 2 weeks ago? I think it was last week at Brands Hatch. I can't remember, honestly. I get the weeks mixed up. I forget. Sometimes I think to myself, did something happen today or did it happen yesterday? Genuinely, that's a true story. I will literally think to myself, I think that something happened yesterday, but it didn't. It happened earlier today. It's really messed up. But Anyway, currently, Tyner's got a bit close to the fastest time here. He's got just over a second behind Jazzman, but he's now in the low 206s. So can he now dip his toes into the 205s? That would be an impressive job here from Tyner. And obviously he's exerting his authority over his championship rival Ludo, who is 7/10 adrift of him in third place. Can Ludo get a little bit closer here as he's coming into the final corner? Totally Zero says, missing 10 minutes of the race for me. Your load shedding is due to stop about 10 minutes into the race, you said. Well, I suppose it'd be good, better late than never. I mean, you might as well jump in and get some track time. But Ludo doesn't improve on that last lap anyway. Still third place for him. Cannot wait for next season, says Stephen. Neither can I. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. Autumn was always a bit more. Numbers are always a bit better. This season it's been inconsistent numbers. We had to condense the two tiers into one because we were just getting we were struggling to get 15 drivers in each tier. And obviously tonight, if we had still had two tiers, we'd probably have 10 drivers in each tier. So it was probably the right decision that we decided to condense them down. At first, we were actually having to turn people away because we did have slightly more than 30 people wanting to race at times, and especially the tracks where the tracks capped the number of drivers. Say for example, you got Snetterton caps it at 26. You got tracks like Hungaroring caps it at 27, which is a real bummer. But I think ultimately we'd rather have a 25 driver race than have two 12 driver races. Do you know what I mean? Or two 13 driver races or whatever. It just gets ridiculous. So ultimately we had to make a decision. But saying that, two tiers will 100% be back next season. If anybody watching for the first time is interested in joining the PlayStation 5 GT3 League here at Motive Racing on ACC, then feel free to go to www.motiveracing.com. If you're watching through any of the links that I've posted in other Discord servers, then also feel free to check out our Discord. I don't think I've actually posted our Discord link in those links. So your best bet is to go to www.motiveracing.com, and through there you can just click on you can click on which title you want to play on. So obviously you've got to choose from ACC, Project Cars 2 or F1, and then it will take you straight to the Discord server. You'll get a little pop-up message from Me6 telling you what's what, and then off you go. You're ready to rock and roll once you've filled in that sign-up form for next season. So definitely do that. In the meantime though, Tynus in the house has found absolutely bags of time in the last couple of laps. Look at that. He has moved himself up in, well, he's already in second place, but he is now suddenly much closer to Jazzman than he was. Less than 0.4 of a second between Jazzman and Tynus, as the latency's just gone up massively in the last few seconds. I thought somebody was joining the server there. It had that sort of vibe, but it doesn't appear that anybody's actually jumped in just at the moment. But anyway, we've got Chris there saying, did you get my message on Discord about next season? I'm just going to check it out now, mate, because I don't think I've seen it. Hold on. Chris. No, Chris, I haven't. I haven't got any messages from you on Discord, actually. Oh, no, hold on. Yeah, missing the first two rounds, yeah. That's no big deal, mate. As long as you're there for most of them from the rest of the season, it's not the hugest of problems. If you're not there for the first race, obviously, you know, as I say, life gets in the way. And obviously, it's the new season starts right at the end of summer, so there are still a few people who are going to be away and stuff like that. I think once we get into like the middle of September, that'll be when things start to settle down, and I think the numbers should be pretty consistently there from then on. So fingers crossed we see that happen. But Tyson in the house in the meantime, coming through the final few corners. He's just under 0.4 of a second off of for Jazzman's pole time. Can he find those 0.4 on this lap? Did he get an invalid lap time? Yes, he did. He invalidated his lap there, going through the penultimate corner, got wide onto that curb, 2 wheels off of the track. That's binned it for him. He's coming into the pits now, so it is going to be Jazzman on pole position for the final round of Season 5 here, taking it by just under 0.4 of a second over Tynus in the house. Ludo will be lining up in third place with PS Vids. A great showing from him there in the final round, starting on the second row alongside Ludo. Then you got Guido, Kristen, Carl Marley on row 3 ahead of Sharka, Zulu and Robo. Epiphany in 9th ahead of Caprigia, followed by Toonday with Day alongside him. And you've got Fednad and LOL 3000 ahead of Aerocode and Scuderia Paul, followed by Snoopy, Chris, Glenn, and it would appear Jordan was in the session earlier on, but unfortunately had to leave midway through, which is a bit of a shame. I mean, hopefully he can get himself... Oh, is he back in? No, he's not back in. So Jordan actually left us. I didn't even realise he'd been in there in the first place. But Jordan did jump in and then jump back out again. Let's see if he gets himself back in before we actually get going for the race. Bit of a shame actually that. I'm not sure why that's happened. Obviously something's come up, I assume, which means that he can't race. Hearing reports that the Tyson House could have some wheel problems. It always seems to happen in the mid-session interval. So I wonder. Oh no, you wrote that. You wrote that 20 minutes ago. Okay. It's showing up that we've got a high ping. I think somebody's trying to join, but they can't. That's usually what the reason is for that. It's a very strange situation. Keeps coming up saying high ping latency is insane, but the ping's actually settled down. But it just suddenly jumps up for no reason, at random. I don't know if G Portal have got some server issues at the moment, which is maybe causing us a few headaches. Here we are then, ladies and gentlemen, 40 seconds left to go until the final round of the season. The championship still currently on the line, but it's very, very likely indeed that it is going to be Tynes in the house taking his second GT3 championship in a row here at Motive Racing. Obviously took his first ever championship last season. I keep meaning to actually combine the history books at Motive between the PS4 and the PS5 platforms. I'm going to do that in the off season. I'm going to update the actual Roll of Honour, because obviously you've got the Roll of Honour which has got the top 3 from each season, but I'm going to simplify it a little bit by just opening up another page which is literally just going to be a Season 1, Season 2, Season 3, Season 4. It's just going to have the champion for each of those seasons, and I'm going to combine it so that the PS4 and the PS5 is all on one Roll of Honour together as one thing. Because I think that makes it a lot more easier to follow, but obviously it's all the same thing, it's all the same championships. Same kind of group for the most part, same drivers, same platform, but just a different generation really, that's it. But nonetheless, here we come into the final corner here at Circuit of the Americas. We're about to go racing here for this final round of the season. Jazzman and Tynes on the front row with Ludo and PS Fids. Right behind them you've got Guido, Kristen, Carl Marley on row 3 with Shark, Azuda and Robe, followed by Epiphany and Cabriglia completing the top 10. Here we come then up towards the line. It's the second line, the second control line, where we'll actually get going for the race. They're still in formation at this point, as we're just coming up on the line now, and we should be green. Here we are underway for this final round of the season. Who's got the better start from Jazzman and Tynes? It looks as though Tynes is looking around the outside, but he's not going to get a run there. Jazzman is going to hold on to the lead for the time being in the background there. You've got Carl Marley making up a couple of places there. I think he's got himself into 5th place there, maybe even 4th. So a good start there from Carl Marley, but the 2 leaders as you were at the moment, as that was PS Fitz, I think, going a little bit wide there in the background. He's now just behind Shark Zulu there. So Shark Zulu up into P6 ahead of PS Fitz. PS Fitz has lost a couple of places down to 7th place. But Jazzman, Tynes, Ludo, Carl Marley, Guido Chris the top 5. Shark Zulu, PS Fitz, followed by Robe Caprigia. Tunde completing the top 10. Epiphany Day, Fednab, followed by Lowell 3000, who's had a moment. Lowell 3000 has had a big incident there coming through the S's, and he's dropped way down the order. Chris and Glenn both started from the pit lane as well, so that's really gone a bit pear-shaped there for them. Error code, Scuderia Paul and Snoopy still on the train of cars. As I say, that Snoopy there bins it, so Snoopy's now dropped off of the train as well there. So a few little moments here on this first lap of the race, but it's Jazzman leading the race ahead of Tynes in the house. Ludo's still close on the back of these guys right now, obviously. Will be wanting to keep his championship rival in sight in case Tynes does run into any problems here in this final round of the season. But there is your 2 leaders currently, half a second separating them right now. Obviously the gap in qualifying wasn't much as Carl Marley dives down the inside of Ludo there. Does he get it stopped in time? I think he did manage to complete the move there, a bit wide on the exit of the corner. They're side by side, and actually Ludo's managed to get around and outside Carl Marley through the next corner there. And Ludo does hold on to 3rd place just about. Looked like Carl Marley had completed that move for a second, but it didn't quite work out, and it's still as you were between those 2 at the moment. Is in the background here we've got Epiphany all over the back of Tunde here, who's managed to actually make the move on him somewhere coming through that middle sector there. So Tunde now up into 10th place into that position. You can see Day right behind these guys with Scuderia Paul and Error Code as well. Big train of cars here battling over P10. And action wherever you look right now. Jazzman and Tynus currently half a second separating the two leaders as they come into the final corner here to complete lap 1 of the race. What a dramatic first lap it has been here as Epiphany trying to get back on terms with Tunde right now. Still all 19 drivers in this race at this point. Ludo still just keeping ahead of Carmali. Carmali not sending one into turn 1 like he did at the end to the hairpin at the end of the back straight on the last lap. Always PS Vids there very wide, and Robe's going to seize on that up into 8th place. Didn't need a second invitation there. Robe, sorry, 7th even, should I say. So Robe there up a position, and PS Vids is going backwards in the first few laps of this race. Obviously he started in P4, I think it was. He's now on 8th, so it's really not been the first couple of laps that he would have wanted at all, and not the situation that he would have been ideally hoping for when he went to bed last night dreaming of his final race in the GT3 Championship for Season 5. But still a long way to go here. Obviously only 3 minutes in, only a lap and a bit gone in this race so far, and plenty of opportunities here for him to get himself back into this race. But Jazzman and Tynus dicing it out. They're gapping Ludo and Carmali consistently here in the first few laps of the race. In terms of everybody else, there's a battle going on still between Day and Tunde at this stage. You can see though, Day seems to have gapped Tunde a little bit. Scuderia Paul and Error Code running close. Ferdinand now joining this battle as well here for what is 12th, or yeah, sorry, I do apologise, 11th actually, in this race. But here we come down the back straight now, and Error Code looking to the inside here on Paul. Is he going to be able to get a run here into the tight hairpin at the end of the back straight? He's going to look down the inside, but Scuderia Paul holds it around the outside. Bit of contact there between them. Scuderia Paul for the time being does hold on to that 13th spot here in this race, which is good to see. But Sharka Zulu's got ahead of Guido Cristal up into 5th place. So Sharka Zulu having a barnstorming first couple of laps to this race. He's made up a lot of positions here. Robe's still just ahead of PS Vids right now. Can he close up onto the back of Guido Crist and try and knock Guido Crist while he's down a little bit here? Sharka Zulu though up into P5. Oh, who's off in the background? Somebody spun it. Somebody's off PS Vids, I think. PS Vids facing the wrong way there, coming out of the final corner, and everybody's having to come past him as he gets it spun around and pointing it in the right direction once again. But PS Vids' race has gone from bad to even more bad. I didn't want to use the bad to worse analogy, so I ended up using an analogy that's totally amateur sounding. Sorry about that, but PS Vids down to 15th place in this race, and what a massive shame there for him. As we're currently watching a battle here between Capriga and Epiphany right now, going through the S's. There's Day and Tunde running in 10th and 11th. You've got Lowell 3000 in the pits at the end of lap 2, so he's coming in for an early pit stop here, obviously to get that pit stop done and out of the way, and obviously then he hasn't got to worry himself. He hasn't got to stress himself out. He hasn't got to get sleepless nights worrying about the fact that he's got to do his pit stop later on, because he's gone and done it. So it's out of the way. It's sorted. You know, it's get rid of times, get rid of programs. Jeez. But Jazzman and Tynus still battling over P1 at the moment. 0.2 of a second currently separating them as they come down the back straight. There's Ludo running in 3rd place ahead of Carmali, followed by Sharka Zulu. You've got Guido Crist and Robe currently running quite close here in 6th and 7th place. Is Robe going to try and make a move down the end of the back straight? He thinks about it, but thinks better of it. Had a little move to the inside, suggesting he might be thinking about it just a little bit. But in the meantime, Epiphany's made a move on Capriga, so Epiphany's up into 8th place. Day and Tunde still right behind those two at the moment, but nicely done there from Epiphany. And now he can try and chase down the top 7 drivers who have pulled out a bit of a gap to this mid-pack here. Epiphany, Capriga, Day, Tunde, these 4 battling over 8th place, although Tunde just seems to be dropping off a little bit at this stage. Scuderia Paul still keeping Error Code and Fednad at bay for the time being. There is PS Vids. He's got damage now on the front of the Ferrari as well. Obviously he had such a good showing last week in his debut in the Ferrari at Brands Hatch, but tonight it's not gone to plan at all here for him. He's well, it's just, I mean, he had good qualifying, didn't he? He had pace, but doesn't seem to just be able to hold it together at the moment for whatever reason, which is obviously unfortunate to see. But Guido Crist still ahead of Robe as they're going into turn 1. And Jazzman's just extended his gap to Tyler a little bit now, 1.2 seconds, so he's looking a little bit more comfortable in that battle for the lead at this stage in the race. Caprigas to the head of day there is Tunde in the background. Scuderia Paul still keeps to the head of Aerocode. Aerocode might be losing out to Fednad here. Fednad up the inside, Aerocode very wide there coming out of turn 1. No, Fednad does get the move done there up into 13th place. A nice move there from Fednad going through turn 1. In the background you've got somebody else, Lol 3000 there, who's a lap down on these guys. He's already coming to make his pit stop, but a lap down, he's got a lot of work to do as PS Vids is into the pits at the end of lap 3 to get that damage repaired and obviously try and get himself back together again, I guess, because there's a long race still ahead and obviously lots of laps, lots of time to actually catch up. Tony Zero says, I think I'll watch tonight. He doesn't want to ruin the race, says that it's looking exciting. Fair enough, mate. I mean, you're more than welcome to jump in if you want. I know you're a clean driver, I know you're not going to mess with anyone's race, but if you're enjoying what you're watching and you want to keep watching, then absolutely feel free. I have absolutely no issue with that whatsoever. But Robo here has got Guido to his inside as Robo tries to hold it around the outside. Guido Chris poking his nose as Robo a bit wide onto the curb. Guido Crystal now fancy his chances here as they're coming into the hairpin at the end of the stadium section. But Robo for the time being is going to hold on to that one and obviously keeps onto that position which he gained a lap or so ago. So Robo doing a good job there of getting his elbows out and not allowing Guido Chris to make the move on him. But Carl Marley still ahead of Charles Kazulu. Charles Kazulu has wasted no time getting onto the back of him. Charles Kazulu's got some pace here tonight. Has he got the pace to challenge Ludo for a podium spot? I wouldn't be surprised if he does, to be fair, because he's been cutting his way through the pack like a hot knife through butter here tonight. Obviously qualified prominently. I think he was P8 on the grid, so you know, he wasn't a million miles off, but he's been a revelation in this race so far. Down the inside into turn 1, Shaka Zulu gets the move done. Bit of a twitch there on the exit, very wide onto the marbles, which should give Carmody the position backward. They're still side by side, and Shaka Zulu with the inside going through turn 2. But Carmody holding it around the outside into the S as we go. Oh, very close race in there. Carmody managing to just squeeze his way back through into 4th place. So that was good driving there from both of them. Nice and clean, and that's what you want to be seeing there. And yeah, top stuff there from those guys. But Jazzman still leading the race by 1.6 ahead of Tynus. Keeping the gap consistent really, no changes there. Robo still on the back of Guido Chris right now as they're coming through towards the end of the first sector. Tunde still on the back of Day at this point. You can see those two battling out over the final top 10 spot. You've got Scuderia Paul and Erico both on the back of Fednad as well. So yeah, plenty going on at this point. We've got Andrew there saying, what's sign-up like for next season? Looking like 2 divisions. I think we've got 30 sign-ups so far for the Sunday GT3 Championship. So obviously we're going to have 25 regular drivers, and then the rest are going to be reserves. So once we get to 25 regular sign-ups for Tier 1, obviously that will be cut off, and then everybody else goes into Tier 2. At the moment, I'm not putting any new drivers into Tier 1. I'm going to just wait until we're certain that we've got all of the guys who raced this season, who want to race next season, have signed up. Once we know for sure that everybody who wants to sign up has signed up, then we will obviously try and work some of the quicker new sign-ups into Tier 1. So like the guys who are ridiculously quick, who we already know, some of them might even be returning drivers or whatever, we can just promote straight up into Tier 1. But then obviously everybody else will be into Tier 2, so it'll be be easy to figure out. Oh, Shaka Zulu's lost it there. Shaka Zulu has binned it coming to the penultimate corner, and he's off onto the runoff area there. What a start he's had to the race, but unfortunately it's all gone wrong. Guido Christ in the meantime is coming in to make his pit stop here at the end of lap 5. Shaka Zulu though is also going to be following him in, and Shaka Zulu, what a shame there after a really strong start. He's got damage on the right rear of that car as well. So I think he's been into the barriers. In fact, he hasn't got just damage on the right rear, he's got damage on that entire rear of that car. So has he been rammed up the rear there by somebody behind him? Well, the only driver it could have been was Robo, or it could have been Carl Marley actually. Maybe he got ahead of Carl Marley and then ended up having the collision with him. I don't know. Difficult to know, but nonetheless, Shaka Zulu, whatever the case, whatever the cause, the result is that he's in the pits with damage on the rear of his car. But Capriglia nonetheless is currently 7th ahead of Day. You can see this battle for 7th, 8th and 9th between Capriglia, Day and Tunde still continuing on for the time being. Gilchrist and Shark Zulu both still in the pits at the moment, having come in at the end of lap 5. But you can see here Capriglia's got his hands absolutely full here with Day. Day getting closer to him into the hairpin. Can he get the run coming down the back straight? Is he going to have an opportunity here to make a move down the end of the straight? You can see here he's going to have the slipstream now and potentially going to be picking up that toe. But is he going to be able to use that to his advantage here? Here we go then, the McLaren getting the slipstream now, getting closer and closer to the Lamborghini. Capriglia goes to defend the inside line. He knows Day's got to run. Here we go, looking to the outside. Day 666 is going to go late on the brakes here. And he's got it around him easily there. Way too easily. Capriglia let him past. Surely let him pass there. That looked to be way too easy. I thought that was close coming into the braking zone. And then suddenly Day was well clear. And up into P7 goes Day. What a drive from him in this final round of the season. And he's been getting better and better over the course of this season. It's a shame he's not going to be racing with us next season. This Day, he's unfortunately he's only going to be a reserve. He's elected to take part in another league, which is obviously fair enough. You know, everybody's entitled to make their own decisions in life. Yeah, Day obviously in his final race for the foreseeable future up into P7, so that's an absolutely superb move there from him, and into some cleaner he goes for the time being. Jazzman still leading the race by 1.5 seconds ahead of Tynus in the house. Cap's gone down a little bit coming through the first sector. Tynus gained 2/10 through that particular part of the lap. You've got Ludo there still running in the final podium place, well clear of Carl Marley, who's currently sat in 4th at the moment. Then you've got Robe a couple of seconds behind him in P5. Big gap back to Epiphany there in P6, followed by Day. You've got Capriglia still close on the back of these guys right now. Tunde in the background as well, quite close. Fednad a long way behind them, and they're ahead of Error Code, who's in 11th place. Carl Marley's got a drive-through penalty. Oh no, what a shame there. That is going to drop him down this order by quite a bit there. That's gone massively unfortunate there for Carl Marley. He's obviously been extending the track limits a little bit too much, maybe cutting a few of the apexes, potentially running a bit wide out of some of these corners, and unfortunately Cota's a track where it's easy to do, and he's the first tonight, but I don't think he'll be the last, if I'm honest with you, because we've seen before Cota is a little bit of a kryptonite for some drivers in terms of the track limits. Circuit in America stewards do like to hand out the track limit penalties like they're lollipops, so I fear we'll be seeing more of the same story as this evening wears on. But in the meantime, Capriglia's on the back of Day still at the moment, as Day's actually well ahead of him now, and Tunde's ahead of him, ahead of Capriglia as well. So Day and Tunde, they're moving ahead, and Capriglia still running in P9 at the moment in this race. As we come over to complete lap 7, on to lap 8 here at Circuit in Americas for this final round of Season 5 here on Assetto Corsa Competizione on the PlayStation 5 platform. There's Jazzman and there is Tynus. The gap's still not very much between them. Tynus much closer here tonight than he has been at some of the rounds this season. Jazzman dominated some of the races so far this season, but Tynus able to keep him on his toes here around this track here in Austin, Texas. And Carl Marley still yet to come in and serve his drive-through penalty, so obviously he's electing to just long it out a little bit, just put it off, just try and forget about it, and you know, but he will have to come in and do that drive-through at some point in the next 3 laps. Otherwise the consequences will be extremely more severe than they otherwise would have been if he hadn't have come in during that window. But in the meantime, Snoopy still on the back of Scuderia Paul as they're coming over the line here to complete lap 7. So they come into turn 1. They've got the lap car of Lowell 3000 just behind them as they go into turn 1. Oh, Snoopy there, a bit of a twitch as he loses the back end there, getting onto the throttle coming out of turn 1. I think he might have actually lost it off the throttle there. I think he might have been in that. I think he might have completely lost drive as he was getting the car turned in. That didn't look to me like it was a throttle issue or a power issue. That looked to me like he was sideways as he was coming off of the brakes and before he put the power down, so clearly a rotational issue there for Snoopy. But that's lost him a couple of seconds there to Scuderia Paul in that particular battle. Gap just under 2 seconds right now between Jazzman and Tynus as we're on coming towards the end of lap 8 here. Neither of them coming into the pits to make their pit stops. They're just continuing to long it out for the time being. Wouldn't be surprised if both of these guys have full tanked it as well, because we've seen that many a time this season. These guys do like to go long with their pit strategy. Totally Zero saying first drive through. Yeah, first of many, I think, mate, to be honest with you. Carl Marley, speaking of him, is coming in now to make that drive through penalty, so he's now getting it done and out of the way here at the end of lap 8. In the meantime, Tunde's all over the back of Day here as they're coming down. Oh, actually no, he's not. Sorry, that was a lie. That was the timing board there from the middle sector checkpoint. But coming over the line, Tunde's now well behind Day. But yeah, exciting, interesting racing here tonight at Circuit Americas for this final round of the GT3 Championship here at Motive. Scooter Paul and Snoopy here side by side coming down the back straight. But Scooter Paul staying ahead as they're coming down towards the end of the straight now. Snoopy a bit too far back to send one on the brakes there. Tell you what, Scooter Paul was a little bit wide there going through that section, and now maybe Snoopy might be able to go for a cutback coming out of the hairpin. No, he's gone very wide there, well off line. Paul was a bit wide there coming out of the hairpin as well, but both of them holding it together. Paul's got some good pace around Cota tonight, clear to see, and he's having some good battles so far. We've seen him in the thick of it here in a few of these little tussles. You can see Lowell 3000 still behind these guys, but obviously a lap down due to his early damage and subsequent pit stop as a result. We've got a second drive through of the night here. Day 666 becomes the next driver to fall foul of the Ratha stewards here in Austin, Texas, and obviously there are going to be quite a few of these. I think it's going to be a recurring theme over the next 40 minutes. But yeah, unfortunately that's part and parcel of racing around this circuit. Scooter Paul and Snoopy still battling over 11th and 12th places right now, but as we were between these two, I'm just really tired. I literally yawn all the time now. I yawn when I'm at work, I yawn when I'm on my way to work, I yawn when I get home, I yawn to do everything. I don't even have to be bored to yawn. I'm not even bored. I'm literally not even bored. I'm just really tired. But is Day going to... Oh, he's well away from the pit lane, so we're not going to find out if he's coming in just yet. Snoopy's currently just over a second behind Paul, so Paul's extending that gap a little bit since we last saw them coming over the line. I'll tell you what, Snoopy getting late on the brakes there, getting sideways as well, which is going to compromise him massively. That's given Paul even more of a gap than he had before. Could allow Lowell 3000 to unlap himself potentially here. So that's going to be one to look out for right here, right now. But Jazzman still out in front, controlling things here in this race. 2.2 is the gap at the moment. Dave's still yet to come in and do his drive-through penalty. Obviously, he's crossed the line twice now since getting that drive-through penalty awarded. And as I said before, if you don't come in to serve your penalty within 3 laps, then the consequences for the set at discretion become ultimately more severe than what they were before. So you're well advised to come in that 3-lap window, otherwise you're basically just making it worse for yourself. You know, ultimately, at that point you're just digging yourself a deeper and deeper hole. You might as well just cut your losses and just minimise the damage rather than making it constantly worse. And yeah, it's beyond me. But anyway, obviously Day hasn't reached that point yet, but if he gets beyond this lap, then he certainly will. But Gilchrist and Capri are still battling out over 14, 15 places, should I say. At this point, you can see there that Gilchrist has extended the gap a little bit over the course of this sector so far. Scooter Paul still on the back of Snoopy at this point as well. Half a second currently between those two in this race at this particular moment in time, as they're just going through the middle part of the lap. Gap at the front between Jazzman and Tynus just over 2 seconds, so Jazzman just starting to up the tempo a little bit, maybe. He's starting to take a bit more out of the tyres. Paul there very deep into the hairpin. He's now going to be vulnerable here to low 3000s. Obviously Snoopy getting ahead of Paul and now starting to pull away a little bit. Paul coming under pressure from the lap car. Day in 6th with gets a round of applause there from Totally Zero. Yeah, absolutely, Totally Zero. Shame he's not going to be with us next season because he's improving every race, and I'd be really excited to see his progress. But oh, he's staying out. No. Oh God, don't. Yeah. Oh, thank God for that. Jesus. Day, you've given me a very panicky, fraught moment there. But he has come into the pits now, so he is doing his drive-through penalty, which obviously he picked up a few laps to go for track limits, and that's good to see, because obviously you don't want to go beyond that 3-lap mark, because then you get yourself 130 seconds worth of time penalties. Obviously, to anybody who has any concept of understanding of racing, 130 seconds worth of time penalties is a lot of time, and it will lose you quite a lot of positions come the checkered flag at the end of the race. But Carl Marley's still on the back of Tunde here in this battle for 6th and 7th places. As we can see, they're coming through towards the end of the first sector here. They've also got a lap car on the back of them as well, which is Shaka Zulu. So obviously Shaka Zulu, who had a very strong start to this race, but then things started to unravel for him a little bit when he made a mistake, as Ludo there puts a lap. No, sorry, I do apologise. That was the driver we were just talking about there, Carl Marley, just putting a lap on Shaka Zulu. But Carl Marley here looking to the inside of Tunde, coming down towards the end of the straight. Carl Marley and Ludo, they have such similar liveries. But here we come into the corner, and great move there from Carl Marley up into P6. Tunde powerless to do anything about that one. Carl Marley into some clean air now. Good stuff there from him. Gap going up quite a lot now. It's nearly 3 seconds between Jazzman and Tynus. And Jazzman has just put a lap on Guido Christ as well. So when you factor that in, he's on some truly scorching pace at this moment in time. Tynus will have to put a lap on Guido Christ in a moment's time. But I have a feeling that when he does, it won't be too much of an issue for him. Oh no, Shaka Zulu's gone wide going into the final corner. That's giving Tunde a little bit more space here to come out onto the start finish straight once again. Shaka Zulu there. Obviously a lap down on Tunde, but still has got something to fight for in this race, I guess. Once all the pit stops are done, he'll probably be fighting for some mid-pack places. Pardon me. Guido Christ here, still on the back of. No, sorry, he's got ahead of Chris, should I say. So Guido Christ got ahead of Chris up into 13th place. Obviously, Guido Christ has already been into the pits. Chris still yet to make his mandatory pit stop here in this race. One driver who's been quietly going about his business is PS Fitz. He's only 15 seconds behind Guido Christ at the moment, and Guido Christ was not too far away in the first part of the race. So maybe, just maybe, PS Fitz can get himself back into a prominent position here. Obviously, he was running very low down actually in the early stages, but we know he's got a pace around this track. Obviously, we saw in qualifying, but he just seemed to get himself into a bit of a rut in the first few laps of the race. Just couldn't get comfortable. I don't know, maybe just being in a cluster of cars at the start, it just overwhelmed him a little bit, and made a few mistakes. Dropped down about 10 places in the first lap, but since then he's obviously got himself back together again, and is now running in P16 in this race. But having made his pit stop, obviously that will change by the time the drivers who still have yet to make their pit stop, who are in front of him, come in and make their stops. But long way to go, not even halfway through this race here tonight at Kota. Jazzman still extending his gap over Tinus, 3.3 the gap. 11 of you currently watching the stream, guys, smash that like button if you're enjoying what you're watching here tonight. Show your appreciation for the drivers out on track and the show that they're putting on, and the efforts that they go to give us such an exciting viewing experience here live on YouTube on the Motive Racing YouTube channel. If you enjoy what you're watching as well and you want to get involved in the action, then be sure to go to www.motiveracing.com. Then you can become a part of the action out on track that you see in front of you at this very moment in time, and you can sign yourself up for next season. The GT3 Championship running as always on a Sunday, but we'll have 2 tiers for next season. Tier 2 will be running at 7 PM UK time, and then the second tier will be at Tier 2 will be at 7 PM. Tier 1, the top tier, will be at 8:30 PM every Sunday. So here we are then, a gap just under 4 seconds here between Jazzman and Tinus. There it is. And yeah, it's just eking up a little bit by bit. You know, he's not ridiculously quick, but compared to earlier in the race where Tinus was keeping him on his toes, it's now looking like it's now definitely shifting a little bit further into the favour of Jazzman. Epiphany coming into the pits at the halfway point. Maybe he's half tanking it. Tunde also coming into the pits here at the end of lap 14. Ferdinand pits as well. Error code following him in. Day brings it in. Oh, takes the cone with him as well. Oh, we got another one, says Andrew. Yes, indeed we do. He's picked up a drive-through penalty here for what would take a while to tap in the dark to be track limits, because that seems to be the order of the day here at the Circuit Americas tonight. So what a shame there, obviously, for him. As Chris coming into the pits here at the end of lap 15, so he's making his mandatory pit stop now, and obviously I reckon a half tank probably is going to be the reason for that one. Tunde's already been in the pits, he's already on the back of Scuderia Paul as well here, only 0.2 of a second between them as they're coming down the back straight. In fact, I think that Tunde might have, no, he hasn't got ahead of him, so Paul is still holding on to that one, but obviously Tunde will be wanting to make light work of Paul because they're on different strategies. Paul's still got a pit, so Tunde will be wanting to spend minimal time behind him here. PS Fid's all over the back of Capriglia here, gets a nice run and breezes past him. Capriglia made that far too easy for him. Every time I see Capriglia in battles tonight, he seems to be waving people through. Very unusual, but Carl Marley in the pits nonetheless at the end of lap 15. See Paul peeling off into the pits there at the end of lap 15, so he becomes the next driver to come in. That releases Tunde into some clean air, which is definitely what he would have needed. But I think it's safe to say now that the drivers who haven't pitted are most likely going to be full tanking it. Obviously we've had the half tank pit window now, but these guys, Jazzman, Tynus, Ludo, Robe, ironically the fastest drivers here tonight are the ones who were running a full tank, which is pretty sensational on their part. Jazzman's still continuing to extend his gap over Tynus, just over 5 seconds now separating those two. Jazzman now just, I think, starting to turn the screw a little bit, starting to show that he has got a little bit more in the tank. He's got some, just a little bit in reserve, which he's now starting to extract. Obviously the Ferrari, a far superior car in the GT3 category on ACC, and he's now showing that to its full effect. Conway looking to the outside there, Tunde defending the inside as they go through the left-hander hairpin, coming out onto the back straight once again. Carl Marley back in that slipstream here, but just seemed to lose a bit of traction coming out of that corner, which I think will affect his chances of being close enough at the end of the straight. You can see Tunde there weaving around trying to break the toe, but Carl Marley's not close enough, not near close enough as they come into the corner. Good evening all, says Raki. Been radio silent due to the holiday. Back home again. Hope everyone is fine. Yeah, I'm not doing too bad, Raki. Good to see you back in the chat as always. Hope you had a fun holiday. And he also says shout out to Chris, Glenn and Paul. Obviously, Chris running, where is Chris? Chris running in P16, Glenn P18, Paul currently 14th at the moment in this race. Obviously we've seen Paul having quite a few good battles over the course of tonight as well. Snoopy there in the pits, but obviously good to have Raki back out on the track. It's been a long time, obviously we haven't seen him on track this season, or not since the early stage of the season, but been missing Raki quite a bit over the course of this season. I know he's been away for about 3 weeks, I think it is. He's been on holiday, so yeah, but obviously be good to see you back out on track soon, Raki. And Snoopy in the pits right now as he's making his mandatory here just after the halfway mark. But the race just settling down a little bit now. Tunde on the back of Carl Marley is really the only battle going on at this moment. But obviously Carl Marley's made the move at him on that last lap, so it could be that now he'll start to just bring the gap out a little bit to him. Oh, Rocky says he will do. Now go to bed after a 12-hour stint from France to home. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I can understand why he wouldn't want to drive after that. That's quite a hefty stint. That is. Whereabouts were you on holiday actually? Was it Spain? So I know obviously Rocky's from the Netherlands. Driving through France, or were you on holiday in France? Maybe actually. Could have been France. Could have been Spain. Could have been Portugal. I'm just using my limited geographical knowledge here to try and troubleshoot whereabouts Rocky's been on holiday, but I'm sure he'll let us know in a moment. You need that reset, Rocky, said Totally Zero. You need more than a bloody reset after a 12-hour drive. Jesus. I think a few beers and maybe a week-long rest might be what's needed after that. But Tunde and Epiphany here, still battling over P6 and 7. Obviously, Carmichael's extending that gap to 2 seconds now to Tunde, but Epiphany is now the next driver to pull up in the rearview mirrors of Tunde as they're coming down towards the hairpin. He's going to send one up the inside. He's going to look to try and make it happen, but Tunde manages to keep it there. It goes late enough on the brakes. Epiphany though will try and get the run coming down the back straight. Might have an opportunity to make that move down here. And another one, says Andrew. Who's that? Oh no, Scuderia Paul has picked up a drive-through penalty for track limits. Oh, what a shame. That's now 4 drivers who have picked up track limit penalties here tonight at Circuit of the Americas. I wonder if anybody's on 3 warnings as well. I think there's a way you can actually check to see. Is there a way you can check to see if people are on warnings? I don't know how to do it. I think there is a way, but I don't know how to do it. So obviously the only way that we're going to find out is when it pops up on the screen saying driver number whatever has picked up a penalty. Tunde here into the pits now at the end of lap 20. Epiphany did let him back past, obviously doing the gentlemanly thing, but with Tunde's hefty damage, it means that Epiphany was able to repass him quite quickly, and Tunde coming in to get that damage fixed now as well. Epiphany's got Guido Christ about 1.7 behind him, so potentially Guido Christ can try and cut the gap down, but he's got damage as well. The main thing, obviously, for Tunde wasn't the collision with Epiphany, which was actually very minimal. It was the trigger for what caused Tunde to be collected by the race leader Jazzman, who was just driving through, minding his own business. And actually, speaking of which, because Jazzman did actually have quite heavy contact as he came through, and he has got a bit of damage on the front of the car, not a massive amount. His gap to Tinus is quite healthy, 4.6 the gap between the top two at the moment, so he should in theory be alright. But just thinking about it, I mean, it was a pretty hefty whack between Jazzman and Tunde, so I wouldn't completely write off the idea that Jazzman might have had a damage which could be affecting his performance ever so slightly. He seems to be alright at the moment, but I don't know, it could be a problem. As there is Jazzman currently coming through the S's here. You can see there the front end's taking a bit of a battering. Tinus there, his car in pristine condition, still going around in second place. Took half a second out of Jazzman coming through the S's there. Scooter Paul and Shark Azula here battling out over 12th and 13th places here right now as they're coming down the back straight. Here goes Shark Azula looking to the inside, looking to try and make a move here into 12th place if he possibly can. Sorry, it's Paul even making a move on Shark Azula, should I say. Paul making a move on the inside up into 12th place. Great move there from him. Scooter Paul up into P12 as Shark Azula's trying to come back around the outside there for the next right-hander. Very tight racing between them, but Scooter Paul manages to complete that move there up into 12th place. Excellent stuff there from him. But Sharks is not going to lie down on this one. He's going to give it absolutely everything he possibly can to get him back here, but to come through into the final sector of this lap. Gap between Jazzman and Tinus has gone up to 5 seconds, so Jazzman's had a strong middle sector here, which is keeping him in good stead right now. We're still watching a battle between Scooter Paul and Shark Azula as they're coming into the final corner. Can Shark Azula get a good run here? Can he maybe have an opportunity here? He gets a much better drive than Scooter Paul coming out onto the straight. Here we go. Shark Azula now pulls out of the slipstream here. They are going to be side by side down towards turn 1, I think, or up towards turn 1, should I say, because it's one of the highest elevation changes for a few hundred metres in basically motorsport. But here we go, up the inside goes Shark Azula, goes a little bit deep on the exit of the corner. Here we go into turn 2. Scooter Paul got the cut back. Can he get it all around the outside though? Through turn 2 we go. Shark Azula does get the move done and gets himself back up into 12th place. Great battle here between these two, and it's not over, I don't think, just yet. Scooter Paul's still right there, but he gets a bit slidey there going through the S's, which would have affected his time a little bit there. And Shark Azula looks a little bit more comfortable in that P12 position for the time being. Fedland in the meantime coming in to make an extracurricular pit stop. Was that a drive-through? I don't think it was. Didn't see it pop up on the screen. If it was, no, it was just a unusually timed pit stop there from him. But Roby in the meantime in the pits to make his mandatory here from P4. Where's he going to come out in relation to Carl Marley? Carl Marley currently P5 at the moment. He's well clear of Epiphany, who's only got a couple of seconds back to Guido Christ and PS Vids. PS Vids, after a difficult first couple of laps of the race, good damage imitation here from him. Could potentially get as high as P6 if he has a strong final few laps of the race. Currently 6 seconds off of Epiphany in P6 right now. just under 3 seconds behind Guido Cristo, who's in 7th. That's Robe here exiting the pits and back out onto the track once again here. Lol 3000 currently sat in the pit box right now. Ludo coming into the pits here at the end of lap 23 from P3. Gap at the front between Jazzman and Tynus just over 5 seconds at the moment, so Jazzman slightly quicker than Tynus over the last couple of laps. Lol 3000 back in the pits. Did he maybe under fuel? Strange to see that, because he was in at the end of the first lap, or 2 laps from the start, can't remember. And we've got a 5th one. Chris here has picked up a drive-through penalty for track limits. To be honest, I'm surprised it's only 5 drivers really, but still more than you would expect at your typical race, and that's going to be a frustrating experience there for Chris, obviously running a P15 at this point, but that will be probably P17 or P18 once he's come in and done that drive-through penalty. No way! What has happened? Unbelievable scenes here. Jazzman has picked up a drive-through penalty, the race leader. He had a decent gap, around 5 seconds back to Tynus in the house. Tynus is coming into the pits to do his mandatory pit stop. Jazzman's still got to do his. Jazzman, the big news here, with just about 10 minutes on the clock, about 5 laps left to go in this race, has picked up a drive-through penalty. He's going to have to come in and serve that in the next 3 laps. That is going to give Tynus in the house the race win, surely. What an unbelievable finish to this race. Tynus in the house, the champion-elect, only has to basically, we knew he had to finish in P17 to secure the championship here tonight, because he had a gap of 34 points over Ludo coming into tonight. Had 2nd place, has just driven his race here tonight, had the win, had the championship in the bag. He's now going to crown off his championship season, his 2nd championship season, with a race victory as well, the best possible way to do it. But Jazzman picking up a drive-through penalty, that's the first time I've ever seen Jazzman get a track limit drive-through penalty. That's the first time for absolutely everything. And maybe the damage on his car from the collision with Tunde potentially forced him to push it a bit harder than he'd have liked to. Got Joseph in the comments saying hello. Andrew saying alright. Jazzman drive through. Robe done Ludo in the pits as well. Andrew points out, indeed he has. He's now got 5 seconds over him. So Ludo getting a bit of a dodgy pit stop. Oh, Ludo's big slide there coming out of turn 1 as well. Huge moment on the exit, but keeping it together for the time being. Obviously Ludo had a chance, a very slim chance of getting the championship coming into tonight, but it's going to have slipped away from him here. But he can have his head held high from tonight and he will actually get second in the championship, I think, for sure. As Jazzman coming in to serve his drive-through penalty now, and he's still got to do his mandatory pit stop as well after that. This will now hand the initiative to Tynus. We're expecting, I think, Jazzman to come out with the lead after his drive-through, but then he's obviously got to do his mandatory pit stop after that as well. Here comes Jazzman then, round into the final corner. He's coming into the pits now to make his mandatory pit stop, so that will give Tynus in the house a convincing race lead here. Roby, I think, it's a bit too far away to be able to capitalise and move himself up into P2, so I think Jazzman should be able to see out a P2 here in his final round of the season. Roby's gap to Ludo is 7 seconds, so Roby's extending that gap here. Roby's been fantastic in his final stint here. He's really got the hammer down and done some bits here in the final part of this race, and he's going to get a podium in this final round of the season as well as a reward for it. Jazzman here coming out, or coming towards the end of the pit lane now, will be underway in a second. But Tynus in the house is going to take the win in the final round of this season, and with it as well, it will be the championship for him. What a season it's been from Tynus in the house. Took the championship last season, his first ever championship at Motive Racing. He obviously took the Sprint League last season as well. Then went and took the Sprint League this season, which wrapped up a couple of weeks ago. And yeah, it's going to be 4 championships in the space of 2 seasons for Tynus in the house. He's going to have taken a clean sweep once again here on ACC on the PlayStation 5 platform. Should really be doing this on the final lap, this whole summary, but yeah, we'll come back to him anyway. Come back to him in a couple of laps time. Guido Christ PS Fids still running in 7th and 8th places as they're going through the middle part of the lap at the moment in towards the stadium section. PS Fids are looking to try and pick off another driver here and move himself up another place. Here we go then, race leader Tynus in the house, starting the final lap of the race here. It will be the final lap, although it hasn't come up on the screen because he came over with 2:03 on the clock, but it's a 2:07 lap here in the race, so this will be the final lap here. GT3 still keeping PS Fids at bay, just about, but with the damage on his car, how much longer is he going to keep the Ferrari behind him? PS Fids getting closer and closer as they come out through the S's. This will be it might be their final lap of the race actually, because Tynus is coming up on them, and we'll lap them in a moment. But he's going to lap them before we get to the end of the race. If he laps them before we get to the end of this lap, then it will be the final lap of the race. But if they can stay ahead of him, they will get one more lap to dice it out here. Tell you what, if GT3 has got any sense, he'll back PS Fids up into Tynus and get them both lapped here. And that would be the ideal outcome here for GT3. But is he going to be thinking straight? Is he going to be in that mindset where he's able to have that clarity and that sort of that thought process, or is he going to be too caught up in the moment to be able to reason with himself that well? Still currently holding on ahead of PS Fids here as they're coming into the final half a lap here at Circuit in the Americas. Nonetheless, what a season it's been from Tynus in the house. It's going to be another 2 championships to add to his resume here at Motive. He took the Sprint League and the GT3 Championship last season for season 4, should I say, and season 5 it's going to be a similar story. Was consistent as anything in the Honda. He knows he doesn't like this car. He said it many times over the course of this season. He doesn't get on with it, but he managed to stick with it. Got the results in the early part of the season, and has persevered with what's been a tricky car. Tynus in the house, out of the final corner, has got a 20-second gap over Jazzman. Slightly fortuitous with Jazzman's penalty. Hold on a second. He did start the final lap. What? Oh, you're kidding me. What? So this first control line is the line you cross over to finish the race, but the second one's the one you come over to start the race. What the? Oh, for God's sake. Never mind. We've got one more lap as PS Fids has made the move, is he? No, he's still behind GT3 at the moment. Oh, that's so embarrassing. I'm such a clown. Here we go again then, GT3 and PS Fids down towards the hairpin. PS Fids has a little look to the inside there. GT3 now defending the middle part of the track as PS Fids looking to try and get a cut back here coming down the back straight. Is he going to be able to execute it though down the end of the straight? In the background there you can see Tynus in the house already celebrating his championship win, celebrating another season of utter dominance here at Motive Racing as he warms the tyres up a little bit as he's getting ready probably for some burnouts when he comes over the line. But PS Fids here still in the back of GT3. Can he force him into a mistake in the final few corners of this season? GT3 doing everything he needs to do, putting his car in all the right places. PS Fids trying absolutely everything he possibly can. 15 of you currently watching the stream, show your appreciation for this man here, Tynus in the house, who is going to be champion for a second season in a row here at Motive Racing. But here we come. GT3 has now got enough of a gap back to PS Fids. He's going to hold on for 7th place here. But it is Tynus in the house for another season here at Motive Racing. Can anybody stop this man next season? He'll probably be in a car that he actually likes next season as well, which will help him out a little bit. But here he comes, out of the final corner here at Circuit Americas for Season 5 here on the PlayStation 5 GT3 Championship here at Motive Racing. It's going to be another championship, and it's going to be another race win for Tynus in the house. What a job he has done. Superb from Tynus in the house as he comes over, and that is that for the race. It hasn't popped up on the screen that he's finished, but he unmistakably has. Jazzman comes over to take 2nd place. He'll have to set up a 3rd in the championship, I believe, with Ludo coming over in P4 here tonight. Robe's coming into the final few corners here. It's going to be a podium finish here in his final round of the season. It's great to see Robe putting in an absolute stonker of an effort. 3rd spot here, final spot on the podium. Well done here to our South African driver. 2 South African drivers on the podium here, Jazzman and Robe. Ludo's coming into the final few corners here. It's going to be a 4th place here for him in the Ferrari, as he's got just a couple more corners left to go. He's not too far ahead of Carl Marley in the end, but Ludo will... No, sorry, he's miles ahead of him, should I say. Actually, they're not even close to each other. Ludo coming over to take 4th place as he comes up towards the line. And there he is, flashing the lights there from Ludo. Can't see who's crossing the line because the checkered flag graphic isn't coming out for drivers that have finished, so we're not really any the wiser. As Ludo there pinning it over the line. Carl Marley coming into the final sector. Tynus has pitted, the race winner and champion here for season 5. But Carl Marley coming through the final few corners. It's going to be P5 here for him. He's got 18 seconds back to Epiphany, who's in P6. Guido Christ and PS Fid still battling for 7th place. They did actually start the final lap because they both held on ahead of Tynus. They didn't get lapped. Carl Marley coming over to take P5 here in this race. Epiphany coming into the final corner. Guido Christ and PS Fid still going at it here, but PS Fid has not been able to find a way through ahead of Guido Christ. And it's going to be, I think, the same story here. Epiphany bins it over the line. No, sorry, he doesn't. That was Tunde there who binned it over the line in front of him. Epiphany comes over to take P6. Guido Christ and PS Fid, the last drivers here on the lead lap, and it is going to be Guido Christ who holds on for 7th ahead of PS Fid. And that is that, ladies and gentlemen, for season 5 here at Motive on the PlayStation 5 for the GT3 Championship. Archie there saying I'll get him next season. Nope, I'm dreaming again. Archie did come 2nd to Jazzman in the GT3 League on the PS4 many seasons ago now, over a year ago I think it was. But obviously Tynus wasn't even in the fold back then. Nowadays it's a battle for 3rd place, Archie, which you're more than welcome to join in for. So it'd be good to see you back out on track next season. And Andrew there says thanks for the season, Andy. See you next season. Definitely so. Always a pleasure to see you in the comments as well, Andrew. Thanks for joining us once again. Yep, we'll see you all soon. Take care, everybody. We'll see you for the new season. If you haven't already signed up, definitely do so on the Discord. If you're watching for the first time, www.motiveracing.com. And yeah, guys, put your names down because it's going to be a cracker out of the next season. 15 rounds, obviously, autumn and winter. No disruptions, no holidays really for the most part. Should be exciting. Get your names down and we'll see you next season. That's it, guys. That's a lot. Thanks, everybody, and see you.